Good evening.
Hello.
So, today on this show, we're discussing long haul trucking, or what a lot of us know as over the road truck driving. And we have here this evening Mr. Brown, Jermaine Brown, who has been a professional driver in the industry for over 2 decades. And recently, Mr. Brown completed an essay entitled Behind the Wheel: The True Consequences of Long Haul Trucking, where he details some of the consequences of over the road truck driving that many of us do not even think about when we hear that someone is a truck driver. Good evening, Mr. Brown. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So, Mr. Brown, could you quickly tell the audience why you decided to write this essay on the consequences of truck driving?
Well, I think it's like you said in the intro that a lot of people don't actually think of certain aspects of trucking. They look at it and be like, "Ooh, truck driver, hey, a lot of money," or it's a career that they decide to go in because of maybe their parents or someone they know that was in it. And I think a lot of, especially the younger generation, as I said, is getting into this industry and not knowing the consequences and the repercussions potentially of the industry.
Okay, awesome. So, in this paper, you detail some of the negative consequences that are associated with truck driving. In this first segment, could you begin with talking about the health impact of truck driving?
Well, I'm a second generation truck driver myself. Starting off, I never really actually knew anything about the health issues until I started seeing my father. My father drove for 20 plus years, I think it is. And in those times, he started getting high blood pressure. He was a borderline diabetic, and he just had different health issues. And as he started going to the doctor more, they started telling him that it's basically because he don't exercise, he don't get around, and he's just sitting in his seat for hours and hours at a time.
Wow, that's interesting. I noticed that in the paper you also discussed some of the mental health impact. Could you talk a little bit about that? What are the did you find out from your research was some of the mental consequences of truck driving?
Well, that's interesting because as I was doing the research, and looking over my career as well, some of the things that they were talking about, I actually experienced myself. Being away from, my kids and my wife, and just missing integral parts of their lives. Almost missed my daughter's graduation because of me being on the road and being gone so long. And it's the baby steps and things like that you miss in your family life, in your family lives, and it takes a toll on you mentally. It gets you in a place of loneliness and despair, and it just have you sitting there and you'll zone out to the point where you can't focus on your job completely. So, as I was doing the research, getting back to your question, I began to realize, like, hey, yeah, these are some of the things that I experienced, and I never really thought about the mental aspect that it takes on me, or took on me, and other drivers as well, until I actually started looking at it and seeing some of the things that like I just mentioned, that I dealt with myself on a personal, in my personal career.
Okay, that's interesting that you mentioned that. I noticed that it talked about the over in, overspending uh, part of that and how that's associated or directly linked with emotional. What did you find out that was interesting about that?
Well, because they like the financial advantage. Everyone likes to emphasize with that, right? And you do make a decent amount of money, and what happens is you're not at home. At least for me, and as I was doing the research, it seems to be a habitual thing. But because you're not at home, and you're not at home to go out with your family, your friends, hang out, you have to start buying things and finding things to keep you alive, so to speak, like on the road, and keep you entertained. So you'll go and just buy things that you really don't need. Um, like I once went and bought a 50-inch TV, and my cab is like 52 inches. Why would I do that? I was trying to make myself have a home feeling. And you just buy things because you have a little bit of money, and you trying to do do something to keep yourself occupied, basically.
Wow, I don't think many of us even think about that aspect of it, especially when you're talking about the mental health and the overspending. But you also detail a nice segue into the next part of your paper that I wanted to talk about. This number 2 in the segment, which discusses the impact on the family. And I know you talked a little bit about that, but can you discuss a little bit more exactly what that impact is on the family and what type of strain that puts on relationships?
Well, it puts a big strain because while you could be on the phone and you could speak with your loved ones, it's nothing like the intimate setting of just being in their presence, right? You have certain things that may happen around the house and you can't be there to help resolve the issue, or one of your children may be sick and your wife may be sick, or your loved one may be sick, and you can't be there to help out in that aspect of it. And then it just breaks down again, the loneliness is set in from your spouse or from your loved one or from your kids. And it just breaks you down and breaks the family down, because everyone, when you love someone, you want them around, right? So when they're not around as much, it causes a strain. And in some instances, I've seen people split up, get divorced, because a lot of times over the road truck drivers, long haul truck drivers, they'll stay gone for 2+ weeks at a time. And then when you come home, you only get 2 or 3 days out, because they normally give you a day off for every week you're out. So a lot of guys will try to stay out, 3-4 weeks so they can get 3-4 days at home. But again, once you're away from your family, you're at your job more than you are at home. So you lose some type of connection with your kids and your loved one, your friendships, and any other thing that you have going on at home. I did the math one day, and when I was staying out, I literally stayed out. I literally had 36 days home a year. Think about that. You got 12 months in a year, and you only get a little bit over a month to be at home. And it goes back to the mental aspect of it, the spending aspect, and everything else that in the paper. So I actually lived through this.
Wow, that's when you think about it and put in those terms and the numbers that you just did, that's a significant amount of time away from home. I've once heard someone talk about they were supposed to be home at a certain time, they didn't get home for whatever reason. Did you find that to happen to you a lot, like where you were out on the road, you were supposed to be home within a certain amount of time, but then something happened where you didn't make it home?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, that I almost missed my daughter's graduation. The industry, I could have detailed more things, but the industry is a beast in and of itself, because the companies, all they care about is making money. Keeping the truck rolling is what they say. You have to keep your doors closed, your wheels turning. It's all type of different phrases. But to answer the question, it's been a lot of times I ran close or missed certain events, because they'll have me in one place in the country and I need to be at the bottom part of the country to come home, but then they'll send me to the whole other side of the country, knowing I know personally that I'm not going to be able to make it home in XYZ amount of time because where they sent me. So that happens all the time. Those type of things happens all the time. My father actually missed my senior night because I played basketball. He missed my senior night of high school. And my brother had to come because he couldn't get home because he was in California. So that happens. Like I said, this paper is really personal to me. It happens all the time, though.
Wow. So yeah, I can just imagine the amount of strain that it has on your family life and on family and children. But in addition to that, you spoke or discussed a little bit in your paper about the environmental impact that trucking has. What did you learn when you were studying and researching the environmental impacts of the trucking industry?
Well, I can tell you this. I never really thought about that aspect of it until I was doing this research again. I can say this: I've been in New York and New Jersey a lot, right? And it's they have ports up there, and trucks are in and out, and just the pollution that the trucks give off from the exhaust, and and that it sometimes it becomes hard to breathe being up there, right? And again, I didn't know about how it contributed to the greenhouse gases and all of that until doing this paper. So it was very interesting. I also didn't know. Wait a minute. I also didn't know that the trucks were the main contributors to air pollution as well. That was very interesting to me too, because again, I've been doing this over 20 years myself, and kind of makes you think like, wow, like what how much have I personally contributed to the air pollution?
Right. Yeah. Like, what has your carbon print been? Yeah. And when you look around and you see all the trucks, and trucking and the job that you all do as truck drivers are very important to the economy. It's what keeps us moving, is what kept us with toilet paper and everything else during COVID. So we understand the importance of it. But yeah, when you think about all the trucks on the road and the greenhouse impact, that's something that definitely needs to be considered. Did you think about, or have you been able to further delve into any ways in which these things can be solved? Like the issues with the impact on family life and the health and the environment?
Well, I didn't do extensive research on that. Like in my the conclusion of my paper, I basically was speaking again from a personal standpoint. I believe how you correct those things, or some of those things, or help correct them, or go trend in the right direction of correcting it. Let me say it that way. Is you have to first of all, I think the government need to come in and understand like what's going on with truckers and the mental health and the family. I think the government needs to understand that first, and then they need to pass regulations stating that truck drivers, long haul truck drivers, can only stay out on the road for XYZ amount of time, right? That'll be one thing that helps, because these companies are run rampant with how long they want you to stay out, and if they don't want to mandate how long you stay out, they should give a mandation of how long you stay at home, right? So that'll be one way to help correct it. I don't think it can be corrected 100%. From the environmental aspect, they're already trying to do something about that with the electric trucks and stuff like that. So they're on that aspect of it. But yeah, as far as that and the family thing, it's like the government just needs to step in and to do something. They can lessen the hours, because truck drivers can drive up to 70 hours a week. Like that's a lot. That's a lot of hours, right? So, and if you're driving 70 hours a week, well, how much time do you actually have to even be able to talk to your family in the right state of mind? Because you just can't, you just can't. But those are some of the things that they can do to correct those issues, in my opinion.
Well, that is definitely interesting. I think you have detailed some good solutions to the problem with trucking. Hopefully we hear more from you in the future, Mr. Brown. But thank you again for being on the show tonight and telling us about the consequences of long haul trucking.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.